Do you like to flip through pictures of Chris Pratt selfies but feel weird about doing it for 2 hours? Then boy do we have a film for you. Join Chris Pratt and his ragtag group of ninja scientists while they fight aliens and practice looking into the camera with all three emotions: anger, grief, and badassedness. We have time travel. We have aliens. We have the dude from State Farm. We have everything a classic war movie should have. Plus time travel and aliens. Back-to-back father-daughter gunfights. Back-to-back father-son gunfights. And of course, the lovable black guy. Spoiler alert, he makes it to the end of the movie. So join us for Tomorrow War, because why save your war for today when you can do it tomorrow? Hey, thanks Ryan and Jason. This is Eric and Javan, friends of the show. This is going to be Eric and Javan's Pros and Cons, where we go over movies that are off the beaten path from where Ryan and Jason would normally go. We're going to be breaking down our pros and cons act by act of a different movie as much as we can get airtime. This week, we are going over the movie that's on Amazon Prime, streaming right now, called Tomorrow War, starring Chris Pratt. Eric, since we all know you love Chris Pratt, he's actually asked for you to stop sending the letters. Why don't you start with the pros of the movie as if I don't know what you're going to say?
Full disclosure, Star-Lord is my man crush. There, I've said it. It's out there. That also ties into my pros, Star-Lord and the State Farm guy being in this movie. I didn't know another soul in this entire film, but that's where I'm going with that. I like Star-Lord.
And if Star-Lord would have been in this movie, it would have been 100% better. But it wasn't Star-Lord.
Oh, no, make no mistake. He was Star-Lord. He's Star-Lord in every movie. It's just a matter of what version of Star-Lord you're getting.
Star-Lord had charisma and writing, but things that this movie lacked.
That is hurtful. Well, I disagree. I happen to enjoy this movie mostly.
So we'll start with the first act. What was your favorite part about the first act besides the fact that you saw Chris Pratt on film?
All right, pro. Chris Pratt is a Green Beret, we find out in this movie. Shout out to my Army people out there. Keep it green, baby.
And where do Green Berets go after they retire?
Apparently, all of them go to teaching. Biology, apparently, or chemistry of some sort.
Well, if you've seen Substitute 1, 2, 3, or 4, that's what they do. Pro, for me, in the first act of the movie, we do establish that...
I think you're a little aggressive with the pro there. I think you need to just back that down a little bit. It just came off a little salty.
I'm trying to project some pros instead of spending a bunch of time talking about the cons. Pro for me, that we established time travel, aliens, and an extension level event in the first act of the movie.
True, that was all good.
Everybody that's going to die in the movie, they don't bother to develop, so it doesn't matter. Chris Pratt has a conversation with a little girl on the couch who it seems like she's a neighbor's kid. Turns out it's his daughter. There's no charisma with him whatsoever, and we really don't even know if Chris Pratt lives in this house that he's at.
If this were Star Trek, everyone's wearing a red shirt except for Chris Pratt and like 3 other people. I just want to point that out. Everyone here is going to die.
Everyone is Human Jones or Johnson, the people that don't make it back, and Chris Pratt tries to reassure him that it's going to be okay, but it really doesn't seem like it's going to be.
I love the amalgamation of time travel, aliens, and ass-kicking. That was definitely a pro for me. Con, this is full of plot holes that could be shot throughout just about every part of this movie. But I digress.
Con for me, they're kidnapping people that live in 2022 to go fight a war in 2050, and...
That's a matter of perspective. You say kidnapping, and I say conscripted. I mean, it's just totally different things.
People took him forcibly from one place to another.
They gave him the option?
Gave him a metal bionic commando bracelet and told him you have 7 days to get your affairs in order.
No. He had 24 hours to get his shit together. He had 7-day tour duty. That,
correct,
which I find is a pro. Anybody who's done a tour overseas with 7 days, I can do that shit standing on my head.
So every 7 days they have a time travel jump. Apparently the aliens sleep on Sundays or the Sabbath.
I don't roll on Shabbos.
And that's when time travel's possible. So we go to the second act of the movie. Pro for me, we establish all the characters that you immediately know are gonna make it and not make it.
Pro for me, tours of duty are 7 days. Also, another pro for me, we get to see some live action combat. There are some up close and personal scenes with the team and said aliens. So it gets into it fairly quickly, and you realize that everyone is effed.
Pro for me, we meet the crazy people that have re-enlisted, that are on team We Don't Get Eaten, which if there was a team Get Eaten and Not Get Eaten, I want to be on team Not Get Eaten, where we see some of
As
the people
opposed to
that...
Team Eat Everything, which is what you've been doing
I
so
have been
far.
on team Eat Everything, but, you know, we've been locked down and food is delicious.
We're on Team Gravy over here.
Which bothers me. Khan, fat guy in the movie, is definitely alien food, and even he knows it, and they don't even try to train these people properly. So Khan for me is that they go through the trouble of explaining how time travel works, but they don't bother until after the first alien fight to say, oh yeah, by the way, you gotta shoot them in the neck or the belly because they're bulletproof everywhere else. So Khan for me, that they're just serving up humanity. I think I know why only 30% of the people return. I think it's because of the crappy on-the-job training. Don't tell me about time travel. How about you tell me how to kill these things? I would think that'd be in the beginning of the movie. That's a con for me.
That was also a con for me, the lack of training there. They didn't really expand upon it. There's like a brief scene where they talk about, hey, make sure you shoot in the biggest mass target area. But I would think that if this is the only way to bring down this horrifying beast, that you would tell me, hey, dumbass, you got to shoot this thing in the gut to kill it. May have been helpful.
Con for me, being reassured by Chris Pratt instead of him saying, hey, this is how you use this machine gun. Don't just tell me everything's going to be okay, Chris Pratt, and stare at me. I know that'll work for my co-host.
I believe he prefers Star-Lord.
I would prefer Star-Lord. But either way, being reassured by Chris Pratt either about dinosaurs or aliens does not comfort me.
This movie put me in a weird place because it actually made me think to myself, if I was in Star-Lord's situation here, how many of my fellow soldiers...
He's not Star-Lord.
That's inconsequential to the story
He's
here.
Andy Dwyer then.
How dare you? I immediately thought to myself, how many of my fellow soldiers am I going to have to kill right off rip to make sure that I live through this event? Because these people are clearly undertrained and have no idea what they're doing. I would not walk in front of these people while they're holding a gun.
I will say that they didn't even give these people a uniform. It looked like people were like...
Some dude's wearing a chef hat at one point in the movie.
There's definitely a dude wearing a chef hat going to war. A lot of these people look like they're dressed for a red-eye flight to Miami on Spirit Airlines. It doesn't seem like they're going to survive. And at some parts of the movie, one of the experienced soldiers says, hey, you're not going to make it, to one of our favorite
That was actually
characters.
a pro for me. I liked that he was brutally honest. We don't have time for bullshit here. Dude, you're going to die. Stay away from me.
But lovable black guy character actually took his advice and hid for 7 days. So,
Which takes us into Act 3. Pro, the black guy survives. Shocking.
Act 3, Con, was Act 3. So we skip ahead to where the movie could have already concluded. We go to present day Antarctica. And for me, the con was that the movie went on for about 30 minutes longer than we needed it to.
I agree. The movie could have ended with Chris Pratt coming back. You know, you don't go on after the money shot. There's not an additional scene that's shot after that. The money shot, done. Deal. Chris Pratt comes back. That is the money shot of
They should have
humanity.
cut the credits and gave us the Remember the Titans. So-and-so went on to work at Radio Shack
Easy.
to become
You
a
do
manager.
a montage. You do it silently. You put black and white pictures. Show them producing the vaccine. They're all happy. Vaccine. The anti-venom, whatever the hell they're producing. Whatever's going to kill said
toxin.
aliens. Is that what it was?
It was a toxin.
That part didn't work for me.
Pro, this is the first time I've ever seen a chemistry montage where they're getting the riboflavins together and the polypeptides, and they're showing them coming together. Chris Pratt and his future daughter working on it together. It was a very short chemistry montage, but I know they don't get their due. It was almost as much fun as seeing Danielson's montage.
No references to Cobra Kai in this podcast.
It was Karate Kid, buddy. Pro, at the end of the movie, it was kind of clever that they tried to say that humans were their own undoing because we basically thawed out these aliens to come kill us because we're rotten people. So I guess Leonardo DiCaprio was right. We should all drive Priuses or be eaten by 10-foot aliens that can knock over Humvees and shoot spikes out
Look,
of their
man,
claws.
those things were effing scary. Whoever put this movie together was not on the Alien Disclosure PR team.
There's one part of the movie where they say, can we see pictures of what we're going against? And the training lady tells her, if you saw pictures of what you were going against, we'd never get you to go. Which I found was funny because they kidnapped him in the first place.
They didn't kidnap them. They got drafted. It's different.
Forcibly drafted immediately.
It's for the sake of humanity.
I have to agree. The aliens, when you do finally get to see them, they're about 10 feet tall. They have tentacles like Dr. Octopus. They shoot out these razor claws, and they're pretty much bulletproof. They definitely tell you why we're losing this war. That and the terrible training program is why only 30% of people come back, and when they come back, they're missing limbs and are in alien support groups.
Yeah, the alien support groups was definitely pivotal for that.
So wrapping up on the third act, we obviously had mixed emotions about it. Would you recommend this movie do you think you had more pros or cons?
Definitely more pros. Allot yourself 20 minutes less time than the movie has in it. Just leave when Chris Pratt comes back. After that, you can pretty much walk away clean from this movie and feel pretty strong about it.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree. As much as the writing left something to be desired, if you don't watch the entire movie, then
it's actually a pretty good flick.
You
it's
will
the
have
last
wasted
20 minutes that really ruined it for me.
Exactly. They got a little greedy. They wanted us to see one more back-to-back father-son gunfight.
Oh, another con. Too much discussion about the Miami Dolphins. Nobody likes the Dolphins. People on the Dolphins don't even like the Dolphins.
But that's gonna be Eric and Javon's pros and cons on Tomorrow War.
Go see it.
Don't see it.
I see it. Go see it. Just not the last 20 minutes.
Or the first 40 minutes.